So what is Babylon the great prostitute and the beast? Did you realize the word prostitute feature prominently in the book of Revelations, which is such an important, powerful book? And yet Christians don't really read that much from it because nobody understands what it says. It's about time for theologians or scholars to expound it. Hopefully I can expound some of it and finish my MDiv. And the other thing is, pastors don't preach from it either. For some strange reason, I think I got a feeling that pastors like to preach some cordial stuff. People are feeling good and cozy, that kind of thing, But you know what? I'm going to preach it. Revelation 17. Then one of the seven angels who had the seven bowls came to me. Come, I'll show you the judgment of the great prostitute who is seated on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed sexual immorality. With the wine of those sexual immorality, the dwellers on earth have drunk. Well, let's look at NIV. Come, I'll show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters, with her the kings of the earth committed adultery. The inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine with her adulteries. I'm telling you, one of the greatest, most potent weapons of the end time eschatology, satanic, Satan's strategies and forces and assaults on God's holy people, is sexual sins. There you go. It's right here. Adulteries, immorality, prostitute. Every word used is about sexual sin, lust. I put out 2 videos recently about the potency and the vulnerability of men, especially a Christian man and men in general. Particularly, I'm talking in the context of the crowd of the Christian man, how we can be enticed and stirred by movies these days, which is so commonly showing the fleshly desires and lustful thoughts, and how easily you making relationships so cheap, just slipping around. It's just an antipathy to the Holy Scripture. They promote that. I believe there's a spirit of intoxication, exactly what it says here, drunk. Okay, they're drunk. In fact, NIV has a better way to put it, called intoxication. The inhabitants, the people of the earth, were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries by this great prostitute. You see that? That's intoxication. Get drunk. How? You ask me how? Well, we watch movies with that, we get intoxicated, we get stirred. No wonder pastors fall these days. Some pastors, minority pastors. Even pastors fall. Okay, some worse still is mega church pastors fall. That's even worse. Okay. So we have to know Jesus revealed to John the great prostitute, the punishment of the great prostitute, who has intoxicated people of God with what? With adulteries, with adulteries, immoralities. Okay. So commit a sexual immorality. That is again and again in the Holy Scriptures. It came forth in the book of Revelations is sexual immorality. Why not talk about greed? Why not talk about killings? Why not talk about justice? Oh, so many churches are so big on social justice. We could do justice. Justice is very, but there's chapter after chapter about the spiritual adultery and physical adultery. And that two go hand in hand together. There's no way you can separate the two. No way. So guys, my big point here is I want you to know there is no getaway for an intoxication on the sexual immorality by the devil in this world I would say the biggest thing is the Hollywood movies, or any movies for that matter now. It's hardly any, movies is a strange, strong grip upon our minds because it can stir our imagination so easily and you know what's the reason? Because portrayed to us 3D, three-dimensional, right in front of our eyes. Especially when you follow along the narrative of the story, you come to a point that you're so much into it that you don't want to get out, and you get crushed. They flip in, they put in dosage of cheap immorality stories into it. And if you go to Disney, they go again about all these things, even in stronger measure, which I wouldn't talk about now. Okay, let's just say clearly that we gotta get the movies' influence out of our minds. And the internet, forget the porn, forget the porn. I think we need to fill our minds with things that are praiseworthy, the Bible says. That's excellent, praiseworthy. How do you do that? Oh, they say, this is old-fashioned. You don't do that. You are out of, what do you call? Out of line. Oh yeah, we're not out of line. We're in the line. Okay? So guys, don't let people label you, say, oh, you're old-fashioned, out of line. Don't you watch Netflix and all this stuff? Come on. Why don't you do that? Have some fun, enjoy in life. That's why Christians, we have to find fun and joy in other things. We're supposed to enjoy ourselves in God. How does that look like? Exactly, many fields. Wholesome. Recently, I started listening to family radio. Highly recommend. Such a wholesome radio program. Beautiful. It's wholesome, edifying. Nothing fancy. You don't have to be so cool and hip. Like some Christian radios. I'm beginning to sound like old-fashioned, old school. There's a lot of great things about old school. Let me tell you something. A lot of bad things at new school. Not that all the old school are great. There's something we need to adjust, but you need to know the principle, the underlying principle, so you can adjust and move on in life. Read Revelations. God is after the sexual immorality. And God is fighting it, judging it. And you don't want to be hooked with this kind of influence. Amen.